So just want to shout out to anyone who's struggling with food issues or in recovery from an eating disorder. Oh, I know how awful you must be feeling. Now, this is going to be such a triggering time for you as an eating disorder survivor. Being at home was one of my biggest triggers, and I did everything in my power to avoid being at home because it felt too uncomfortable and too painful. So I really want you to know that what you're going through, you're not alone. Okay, there's a lot of people out there feeling in exactly the same situation, so we've got to support one another. And now there's so many different reasons for why you're feeling like this. I mean, all the worry and uncertainty being a massive one. So what happens is that we look to go back to old behaviours which feel comfortable and safe, and food is just a prime example of one of those behaviours. The second thing is the boredom and the loneliness. This was a massive one for me. These are two huge food triggers. And the thing is, when you're eating, you can't be bored and you can't be lonely. You have a focus. So this is a really, really important one. And then the third one is, oh my God, being surrounded by all this food, all those extra trips to the supermarket. It can just trigger up all this anxiety and all this fear, even just knowing it's in the kitchen can be enough. And then for me, this was another massive one, having too much free time. I used to cope with my food struggles by keeping busy. I was at 100 all the time. Distraction. So from going from 100 to 0 can feel really unsettling and unfamiliar. So again, our brains will go back to those things that feel familiar, which for me and for many people is food. And then another one is not being able to exercise. Oh my God, this would send my anxiety through the roof. We start to get cabin fever, and you can either go into full-on restriction mode and try and take control even more, or you can go the other way and think, I'll stuff it, what's the point? And then resort to binging, overeating, emotional eating, whatever that may be. So you're not alone in this. There are many reasons why you're feeling like this, but until we can kind of face up to the reality that this pandemic is just another thing that can happen to us in our lives, which is completely out of our control. They trigger all these unwanted emotions, and unless we face up to the truth of how we're feeling, we're always going to feel like this when something like this happens to us in our lives. So I think it's a really good wake-up call to think, okay, this is an opportunity now to face up to these feelings and tackle them now. This is my chance to really use this as an opportunity to practice, to build self-awareness, and to build the tools and mental strategies so I can actually get through this. So when the next thing that happens that comes into my life and knocks me off track, I then don't resort to those old unwanted behaviours. But the thing is, you're not alone, okay? We've got to stay strong, face the realities of our current situation, and stick together. We're all in this together, and there is support out there. So if you're feeling worried or concerned, drop me a DM. I know where you've been, and I've been in your shoes. So any questions, just let me know. Keep safe, guys.